Every video here on 616 Entertainment is made possible by my supporters over on Patreon. If you enjoyed the show here today, consider signing up. You'll get early access, exclusive videos and podcasts, and more. Pro Wrestling Tees has the merch. As always, thank you for watching. Over the last several years, I've covered just about every Acclaim wrestling game there is to cover, at least when it comes to PlayStation. WWF War Zone, both ECW Hardcore Revolution, and its sequel, Anarchy Rulz, onto Showdown, Legends of Wrestling. I created a bit of a problem for myself in that I jumped all over the place. I did not produce these retrospectives in order. So now here we are in 2024, and I've still got one more on the list. Today, we finally knock it out. War Zone was the first WWF video game to climb into the three-dimensional ring, and it was unlike anything we'd experienced up to that point. The wrestlers screamed in pain during submission moves. Vince McMahon and Jim Ross delivered fantastic commentary throughout the matches. We were able to create our own superstars and take them into battle against Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Stone Cold, and more. It may not hold up extremely well today, but for its time, Warzone was special. And 1 year later, the sequel would arrive. WWF Attitude promised more wrestlers, more action, and more, well, attitude. Today, we're gonna go all in. Get it? Oh, how you doing, Dan-Dans? My name is Ian. Welcome to another episode of Triangle X Squared Circle, the wrestling game retrospective series. There's not going to be much more to say about Acclaim after this episode, so I hope you're satisfied. I hope you feel like we've gotten it all out. Now, make no mistake, there are still plenty of wrestling games on the list to cover, and I've even considered going back and doing new retrospectives on games that I covered 6 and 7 years ago. You know, brand new videos with a whole new set of eyes. What do you think about that? Let me know down in the comments. And hell, I'm still trying to hit the remaining goals on the Patreon support project. Every new sign up brings us one step closer to the next in-depth retrospective. So if you want to see videos in this style on Metal Gear Solid, the history of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Grand Theft Auto Vice City and San Andreas, and more, sign up over on Patreon at any level you choose, whether it's the cheapest or most expensive level. It doesn't matter. Every sign up counts. But enough talk. Let's get into the game. Now, right off the top, I'm actually going to recommend you watch the Triangle X Squared Circle episode on WWF War Zone if you've A, never seen it, or B, don't know anything about the acclaimed WWF games. I'm not going to talk about the Mortal Kombat dial-a-combo system required to hit big moves here in Attitude, or the health bar that changes color. I'm not going to do that because I already did in the War Zone episode. So you can get all of that introductory knowledge right there. And that's actually a great jumping off point for this episode. WWF Attitude is barely a sequel. I'm sorry, we're gonna get into the negativity right at the top, I guess. WWF Attitude is not a great game by any means. The gameplay has barely, and I mean barely, evolved. It's practically identical. And listen, the skeletal structure of the gameplay mechanics is not something WWF War Zone is remembered fondly for. The frame rate is shit. I'm just gonna call it like it is. The frame rate is all over the place. The game often experiences slowdown for seemingly no reason whatsoever. It's not like it only happens when there are 4 guys in the ring and the game can't handle it. No. In a normal one-on-one, we're oscillating back and forth between the low and high 20 frames per second, which I don't think there's any real excuse for. You know what? Let's make this episode of Triangle X Squared Circle special. Rather than using this entire video to focus on gameplay mechanics that are largely unchanged from the previous entry, let's get into the weirdness right here at the top. Because trust me, WWF Attitude is a weird game. Don't believe me? Here's an example. In War Zone, Jim Ross and Vince McMahon would put the competitors over before a match.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vince McMahon.
And I'm good old JR. It ought to be a great matchup.
Oh, boy, Kane's here, and that's going to be hell to pay.
The sky's the limit for this Crimson Beast.
Once a hero in the WWF, now Bret Hart is despised.
This isn't about popularity. He's the king of the hill.
Here in Attitude, the wrestlers add a little color to the experience.
I will destroy your body and claim your soul.
Oh yes, I know you want me.
You're asking, what's weird about this? Alright, you asked for it.
Hey, you know, statistics prove that somewhere in Japan, a woman gives birth to a baby every 4 seconds. I'm gonna go over there and find that woman and put a stop to it.
What the fuck does that mean?
Hey, you know, statistics prove that somewhere in Japan, a woman gives birth to a baby every 4 seconds. I'm gonna go over there and find that woman and put a stop to it.
What the fuck does that mean? No, seriously, do you know? Anybody watching this video right now, do you have any idea what Jerry Lawler is talking about? Why would he say this? What does this have to do with anything? It's a weird thing to talk about in any setting, but let's just say it's true. Let's say the King was backstage reading a medical journal and he brought his thoughts to the ring. Why is he upset about it? Why is he standing across from his opponent, the bell rings, and what's on his mind is, I gotta go to Japan and stop that woman from having kids? I am genuinely bewildered by this whole thing, but we gotta move on. We just gotta move on. Create a Wrestler is certainly deeper here in Attitude than in the previous title, I'll give them that much. We've got many more options in the outfits department, and we can adjust the colors of pretty much everything. This is my guy. I wanted to name him Scuba Steve, but the announcers have the built-in name of Flood, so I wound up using that. Man, Flood would be an awesome name for a creepy creature from the sea sort of character, wouldn't it? Anyway, there are a ton of custom theme songs and voices your character can use in this mode, and some of these songs are unspeakably strange.
I've had my eye on you.
Let's legislate. Yeah, I'm the governor. I'm the governor, baby. And I can take you home to my mansion.
I remember my buddy Bathroom Money Tim Ewers would play the opening lines of this one over and over, based simply on the fact that it sounds like the woman says, "Lick my boobs."
On your knees! Lick my boots!
Clearly, it's "Lick my boots," and we were much too young at the time to realize that this entire song is a sex fetish sort of thing. That went right over our little 8-year-old heads. Man, we should not have been playing this. There's a rumor that the voices your wrestler can use were provided by Road Dogg, but I find that hard to believe.
Timber! Banzai! Thank you for your tax dollars! Sit back and watch my greatness! Silence in the court!
Let us touch on, for just a minute, the butt bangers.
Do any of those sound like Road Dogg to you?
Bigger is better! Pin me and pay me!
I've also read that the characters these voices belonged to were supposed to be in the game. They would serve as jobbers in the early goings of career mode, but were cut for some unknown reason. Do you believe me that WWF Attitude is a weird fucking game yet?
How?
This is Kane in real life in 1999. This is Kane in the video game. Look at his beautiful blue eyes. What happened here? Attitude is also the only video game in existence to feature Kane's original voice. For those who are too young and were not there at the time, the Big Red Machine did not always have a normal speaking voice.
I was able to drop you on your head at SummerSlam.
The character couldn't speak at all for the first year of his existence, but in June of 1998, he was able to vocalize his feelings with the aid of an electronic voice box.
I will set myself on fire.
And wouldn't you know it, the voice box made its way into WWF Attitude. What the fuck was the Attitude Era, man? What the fuck? At this juncture, I'm officially going to nominate WWF Attitude as the weirdest wrestling game ever made. At the very least, it's the weirdest WWF game ever made. And from here on out, I'm not going to focus on the weirdness. We've gotten the insanity out of the way. Now we can zoom in on more normal wrestling game aspects. Are you ready for that? I hope so. Full entrances in a 3D wrestling game were pretty damn cool to see at the time, and several of them really stand out amongst the bunch. Seeing the glass break for Austin's entrance is so cool, as this was only done a handful of times in real life. Undertaker's flaming torches are great, as is Kane's pyro in the ring. Something as simple as Edge hopping the guardrail was incredible at the time. Like, wow, he was in the crowd! It blew our minds. Similarly to Kane's voice box, this is the only video game to ever feature Shane McMahon on commentary, at least to my knowledge.
Good night!
McMahon!
Booyah! Out like a light! That moron! Nice move over there by Edge!
There are only 3 arenas in the game, none of which are accurate to the television presentation. Monday Night Raw never had a staircase in place of an entrance ramp, that's for sure. But for another first, we've got the ability to create our own arena. The mode is certainly primitive in comparison to what we have today, but that's to be expected. Simply changing the colors of the ropes and turnbuckle pads went a long way for visual variety back in 1999, man. Let me just throw this out there though. On top of being one of the weirdest wrestling games ever, I'd like to also nominate WWF Attitude for being the most annoying wrestling game ever made. Listen to this.
Ken Shamrock can't shake the cobwebs out! Man, this action is hot! Ouch! Nice hold! Stone Cold with leverage now!
Oh, yes! Yes!
Every single match sounds like this. Nobody ever shuts the hell up in this game. It's unbelievable. There's a career mode here, but it's not what you might expect. We're not looking at storylines or branching paths or anything. It's just a list of matches. I say that a lot on this series, and it's because it's true. The calendar, the rankings, the championship belt in question, it's all just fluff. When it all boils down to just being dressing on a menu and none of it has any bearing on the matches at all, yeah, that's what it is. It's just a list of matches with a bunch of shit around it. We can unlock new characters in this mode like Mark Marrow, Sable, Jerry Lawler, but what's funny is we can't unlock the Hardy Boys. Why is that funny? It's funny because Matt and Jeff did a lot of the motion capture work for this game. Many of the moves we see performed in the ring, the entrance walks, and more, many of these were performed by Matt and Jeff Hardy, but they're nowhere to be seen as themselves. How do you like that? I would be very annoyed if that were me, but, you know, it's not me, so who cares? If you'd like to create your own pay-per-view event, you can, and it's just a list of matches like anything else here. If you're wondering about new match types, there's Last Man Standing, I Quit, and First Blood. We were not quite ready for tables and ladders and Hell in a Cell just yet, apparently. My favorite match to play when I was a kid, for whatever reason, were stable matches. And now, stable matches aren't a thing in real life, so let me explain. You put together 4 teams of 4. 1 wrestler per faction is allowed in the match at any given time, and when they're eliminated, they're replaced by the next member of their faction. You might notice that the health bars drain extremely fast in stable matches, which really helps them go by in a flash. It's exhilarating. I loved to use finisher only as a winning condition. So if you're Mankind, simply applying the Mandible Claw will eliminate your opponent. If X-Pac catches you with an X-Factor, you're out of here. It was high stakes. It was me using my imagination. And that's one of the best things you can do with games like this. Now here's where we'll get serious for a minute. One of the first things we see when we turn the game on is a memorial for the late Owen Hart, who, as we all know, was tragically killed in an accident in front of a sold-out arena. WWF Attitude is the final time Owen Hart would ever be featured in a WWF video game, and as a matter of fact, the memorial message was removed from the Dreamcast port of Attitude after Owen's wife filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the World Wrestling Federation. Classy move, Vince. Classy move. Attitude was actually delayed from its original release so that Acclaim could remove the blue blazer character that Owen was portraying at the time of his death. Oh man. Obviously, I want to give a shout out to Owen Hart. No one has forgotten the King of Hearts, even all these years later. And I don't think they ever will. As you might be able to tell, I don't look back on WWF Attitude very fondly. I don't hate it. It's fine, and it was interesting at the time. We had as much fun as we could with it. But in 2023, it's painfully uninteresting. It's boring to talk about. There's a reason I have focused on what makes this game weird and memorable, because honestly, it's not the gameplay that brings up those feelings. It's funny, I'm actually much more partial to War Zone. And I think it's because War Zone was new and exciting at the time. Even with the smaller roster and less to do, it's more charming. Attitude is barely putting one foot in front of the other as far as sequels are concerned. The World Wrestling Federation would part ways with Acclaim Entertainment after the release of Attitude, turning their attention to Aki on the Nintendo side and Ukes on the PlayStation side. It's a weird technical term that's kind of an insider thing, so I don't know if you'll understand this, but I like to call this type of move really smart. Acclaim would sign a deal with ECW, developing 2 games that were literally WWF Attitude clones with an ECW coat of paint. Learn all about these from the link in the description. Have at it. All in all, Attitude did sell over 2 million copies across every console it released on. And no, I'm not interested in talking about the Game Boy Color port at all. I did not forget, I just don't care. Maybe we'll play it someday, but covering it in depth in a scripted style like this is a waste of time. There's really nothing to it. Some critics loved Attitude, others hated it. Where do you fall on this one? Let me know down in the comments. WWF Attitude. Get it? No, I don't. Oh, there it is. That's my Triangle X Squared Circle retrospective on WWF Attitude. That's it! I'm done with Acclaim. I am finished with Acclaim for the foreseeable future. Please don't talk about Acclaim anymore. I'm not going to talk about Acclaim anymore. But next time out, because yes, Season 3 is still going strong, I'm going to knock another highly requested game off the list. Don't miss it when Triangle X Squared Circle finally goes deep on WWE Day of Reckoning. Dan, thank you so much for watching, and let me throw it out there one more time. I could really use your support over on patreon.com/616entertainment. Every year that goes by, you would think maybe it gets easier to do this for a living. It gets harder. And when I say we need to keep the lights on, we need to keep the channel alive, you guys can help me do that. You know, I am fully aware of the possibility that I don't get to do this forever, but I get to do it now, and that's thanks to everybody who supports me over on Patreon, and I can do this for as long as possible if you guys get in my corner or if you remain in my corner. Thank you very much for all the support up to this point, and I hope 2024 is big time as well. And I hope it's big time for you. We're going to do it, right? We can knock this out. I love you. I'll see you next time.